Okay, so regular inverse function, I'm not even talking about derivative, I'm just talking about inverse function. So you switch x and y's. This is what the regular inverse should be. Now, graphical representation of the inverse, if, for example, I have something like right here, I have just pick some points. This is -1, -2, -3, and -4. I am picking -1 and 3, 1, 2, 3. So here is my 1 point, which is -1 and 3. Another one, -3 and 3. Another one is -4 and 5. I'm just gonna extend this -4 and 5. So this is my function, the regular function. It's just f of x. How do I get the inverse of this? You switch the x and y's. This is -1 and 3. This one is -3 and 3. That one is -4 and 5. So what do I do? How do I get the inverse of this? You switch x and y's. So my x is 3 now, and my y is -1. Here we go. Do you see 3 and -1? I switched x and y's. For that one, I'm again switching. I'm gonna make that 3 as an x, which is right here, and -3. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. This is 3, -3. Switched x and y's. That one, 5 is gonna go 4 and 5 as an x, and -4, which is all the way down right here. So this is gonna go 5 as an x and -4 as a y. Did you see this? What happened here? That's my graph, the original one. I can graph it, and this is the inverse. So technically, that's a reflection along y equal x. Do you see that? Like I just reflected it. Now, analytical representation is gonna be f of inverse is equal x, or f inverse, and inside is your f function, is equal x. Now, what is that supposed to mean? It's supposed to mean if you have two different functions, then if you get the x here, that x can be y. And this x is going to be, y is going to be x. In either way, when you do the what is it called? Composition. When you do the composition, you should get x answer. When you solve the problem, that is giving you an analytical representation of the inverse. Not the derivative. I'm not even talking about derivative right now. It's just a regular functions that I'm talking. You switch the x and y's. And also, if you have two different functions, plug in one function within another one, and you solve it, your answer is supposed to be x. Plug in another one in another one, like, switch their positions, and you will get the x equal. Then it means that they are inverse. So let's try this question. You will understand it really good. Inverse derivative is really easy compared to all of this. You just need one formula, and it's just like piece of cake. Consider two function f of x, g of x represented numerically below. Answer the question that follow. Complete the table values of values below. So first of all, what are my x values for f of x? Okay, only for f of x. What are my x values? You know the x is -2, right? Yes or no? Then don't you think that -2 go as a y value? Yes or no? I'm switching x and y's. The 3 is a y value, it's going to go as an x. The 2 is a y value, it's going to go as an x. The x is a y value, 1, which is going to go as a y value. Do you see how I switched x and y's? Are you guys with me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The same thing. Now we're going to pick g and x's. So this is going to go, g1 is going to go as an x value because that's a y. So it's going to go 1, x. -2 is a y value. It's going to go as an x. The x values are going to go as a y values. Is that clear? Do you see I switched it, right? Anybody any question on this? I'm switching x and y's according to this. How do you write inverse? You know that's how you write. Find the value of f g negative 1 g of negative 2. Now this is really important, guys. According to the PIMDAS, don't you think you solve inside the parentheses first? So I'm going to solve inside first. I got g inverse negative 2. This is g inverse. Negative 2 is my x value. You do know that. Everything goes here as an x value. Then what is the y value? It's equal 1. Are you guys with me? I picked these numbers from here, from this table. They said, what is the inverse of negative 2? Negative 2 is the x value. The inverse y value is 1. So I plugged in that. Now I'm going to go for the f of 1. Do you see that? This whole thing was 1. So f of 1, this is f, 1 is x, the y value is 2. It's not rocket science, it's just going back and forth to the tables and switching x and y's. Find the value of that one. Again, inside the parentheses goes first. So I have to find f of 1 first. F of 1 is 2. Now I'm going to go for the inverse f negative 1 of 2. Are you guys with me? Yes? So inverse of 2. So that's inverse. The 2 is x value. What is the y? 1. Is that clear? That one, again, inside the parentheses is going to go first. So f negative 1 of 2. What is the inverse of negative 1? This is negative 1. The x value is 2. The inverse is 1. Now I do the outside, which is g negative 1 of 1. Inverse g is right here function. X is 1. What is the y? Negative 2. Are you guys following me on this?
Yes.
Should I give you a minute to process that? Yeah? Okay, I'll give you a minute. This one, the inside. Again, look at the inside, okay? I'm picking this. That one first. So I got g inverse of 1. Can you tell me what is g inverse of 1?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. Okay. Then I'm going to go for this g. Are you guys looking at it? That one? Yeah? So this one is going to go g negative 2. So what is my g negative 2? 1. Then I'm going inverse negative 1 of 1. Is that clear? Do you have it? Which is?
2.
Are you sure? That's f, right? Inverse. Do I have a 1 for x value? No, I don't. So if I don't have it, that's undefined. I don't have it. I can't define it because there is no y value for it, you know? It's an open circle. Is that clear, guys? You real?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to go for next one. Now you're looking for the derivative of inverse. Okay, your derivative of inverse, I'm not explaining this, and I'm just going to give you direct your formula that you have to remember, okay? I don't want to prove it. I don't have to prove it on the test either. So I'm just going to give you direct formula. The formula of the inverse, f negative 1x derivative.
There's no 1 on here. On the x's, there's no 1. So yeah, if there were 3, then it would be negative. If there were 2, it would be 1. But there's no 1.
So inverse derivative, can you guys see I put the parentheses, I put the f in negative 1x, and I put the prime thingy on the top, which means I'm taking a derivative of inverse. Equal, what is the formula? The formula is 1 over f prime f inverse x, and done. That's my formula that you have to remember it. You have to memorize it. What is, I don't need to know this. I know I'm taking inverse derivative, but this one, 1 over f prime f negative 1x. Sometimes they also give you rewrite. They said 1 over f prime, and they tell you f negative 1 function is equal g of x. Do you guys see this? So instead of f negative 1x, I'm gonna say g of x. But you know g of x means inverse, right? They will give you this in the question that they said, hey, g of x is inverse function. Then I can change my formula. The inverse thing I have within the parentheses is changing it to g of x. Is that clear? Do you see the formula? Yeah? So whatever is here, it's inverse. Sometimes they said g of x is inverse, so I just erase this and I write g of x. Sometimes they said h of x is inverse, then I'm gonna just write h of x here, but I know that's inverse inside the parentheses. Is that clear, guys? Yeah? The formula, right? Okay, let's go. Let's find this now. The question, okay, never mind. Okay, Amy. Suppose that f of x is this, f prime is that. What is the value of f negative 1, negative 4? And do you see this small thingy, the prime derivative? It means I'm looking for the inverse derivative when x is negative 4. Are you guys understanding me, right? F negative 1 derivative when the x is negative 4. Like I need this when the x is negative 4. Are you guys with me on this? The derivative of inverse I'm looking for when the x is equal negative 4. So again, read this. First of all, I'm going to write my formula, which is f negative 1x, and I just put the derivative on top of this. I don't know, you can put it here or wherever you want. Equal 1 over f prime f inverse of x. That's my formula. Yes or no? Now, let's plug in the negative 4 because that's what they were asking me. So watch how I'm doing it. 1 over f prime f inverse negative 4. Is that clear? You know, inside the parentheses we have to find first, right? So I have to find the inside inverse of negative 4. So if you pay attention, this is f prime negative 2 equal 3. What is this 3 means?
The slope.
The slope when x is negative 2. Agree, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, do you see they are also giving me f function? So how do I get the inverse negative 4? This is the most important step in inverse derivative. And this is the easiest thing ever if you understand it. So watch how I'm doing it. I set it up. Now I need the inside thing, right? So I do it on the same AP paper, the test paper, so they can see it what I'm doing. So I have to find that. F negative 1, negative 4. I don't know it. Agree? Okay, didn't I say you switch x and y's? I said that, isn't it? Okay, so what I have, they said the negative 2 is the x value. When the derivative, we take a derivative of f function, we plug in negative 2, the answer was 3. That's what they are telling me to do it, right? But if you pay attention, I do not have this negative 4 thing. But you do understand, this is an x value for inverse. That x value is my y value for the original. Are you guys okay? Do you see I switched the x and y's?
Yeah.
The inverse x become the y for the original. Got it? Do I know the y of inverse? No. That's why I don't know the x either. Because they're supposed to switch. Is that making sense? This is the most important step in this derivative. So how do I get this x? So if I get the x, I can get that too, isn't it? Okay, so how do I get the x? Look, the f function is already given. So I'm going to replace this f with 3x plus 2, which is equal that in negative 4. This will give me the x value. Subtract 2 both sides. I got 3x equal negative 6. You divide 3 both sides. You're going to get x equal negative 2. Got it. So what is my x? Negative 2. So I am replacing this question mark, this one, and I'm making it negative 2. You know, if the x original is negative 2, then that should be my y for inverse. Is that making sense? Yes or no? Now, what is that? 1 over f prime. What is f negative 1, negative 4? Negative 2. Is that clear? How do I get f prime negative 2? Was given. So it's 1 over 3. So what is the inverse derivative of the f function? 1/3. What was the important step? All of this. All of this is important. You don't do this, you're not getting the answer. And my question, here is the question. Pay attention, guys. You don't have to copy it down at the same time. They said find the value of inverse y value. Find it when the x is 3. This is x. And they said find the derivative of that. So I'm looking for the derivative of the inverse function when the x is equal 3. So I have a formula, and I'm going to write my formula. This is equal 1 over f prime f inverse 3. This is what I'm looking for. So I have to find f negative 1, 3 first. So I'm going to write f negative 1, 3. If this is my x value, what is my y value? Don't know. And if I have an original function, do you see I didn't even read the question? I don't even looking at the table. I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do first. So this is x. The 3 is going to come as a y value here for the original. So look at the f function, because I don't have inverse functions over here. They are all f original, g original, f derivative, g derivative. That's all I have here. So I don't have even inverse, so that's why I needed to get this first. So what is the y value? Where is the y value for f3? Here is the y value for f is 3. Then what is the x for it? 1. So it means if this is 1, then you know that is 1. Switching x and y's for the inverse and the original. Is that making sense? So now I know all of that. I have f prime. F negative 1, 3 means 1. Then we look for the f prime 1. This is f prime. The x value is 1 and the prime is 2. So my answer is 1 over 2.
Yay.
Good job.
I forgot the 1 over.
That's another thing I was going to mention. Everybody got these questions correct. The only thing they forget, because they don't write the formula. They just know, hey, this is switch x and y's and blah, blah, and do this. But if you don't write the formula, you are forgetting that 1 over. If you forget 1 over, you say the answer is 2, you got 0 on it. The answer is 1 over 2. Is that making sense? Alondra, you are getting it? Yeah? Okay. Try this one. After this, you have several more examples, which you're going to do it yourself. That one, g negative 1 inverse derivative when the x is negative 2. What do I need first? A formula, 1 over f prime. Do you see they said inverse is g now?
Yeah.
Then I can write here g inverse negative 2. Are you guys with me on this? I don't have to write every time f. If they say g, then it's a g. Okay, find g negative 1, like g inverse negative 2, and g original x we don't know, but the y is negative 2. Did you guys see I switched it right here? The x and y's. Now find the g function. Here is the g function. Where is the y value? Negative 2. It's right here. What is the x? 1. So x is 1. Then that one goes here too.
Yeah.
Right? Then now I have 1 over f prime of 1, because all of this thing is equal 1. F prime is right here, 1x is right here, and the answer is 2. So my answer is 1 over 2 one more time. It is really easy, but I know it takes time to understand the x and y things. The function fg are differentiable functions, selected values, and their first derivatives are shown in the table. Use the table of values to answer the question that follow. Find the value of g inverse 1 derivative, then find the equation of the tangent line to the graph of g inverse when x is equal 1. So first of all, the question is asking equation of the tangent line for inverse g, which means I know it's going to be y minus y1 mx minus x1. The x is already given, it's 1. I really need a y value and I really need a slope. So I'm going to get the derivative first for g negative 1. So I got g negative 1, 1. I have to do important stuff first. Then this one is going to go gx is equal 1. Are you guys with me on this? Right? Find the g where the y value is 1. Here is the g, the y value is 1, the x is going to be 3. So here is the 3 and here is the 3. Stop me if you got confused or I lost you somewhere. That one goes here, the 3 and x and y switch. So I got all the information right here. Now I need a derivative, which is 1 over g prime g inverse 1, and I'm gonna plug in everything I know. G prime, this is 3, so here is the g prime and the x value is 3, then what is the derivative? It's negative 2. So my answer is negative 1 over 2 for the slope. So I got the slope done. I already have an x value, which is 1. How do I get the y value for the inverse? You already know the y value for the inverse is 3. Yes or no? Yeah, it was already there. We did it. So I got y minus 3 negative half x minus 1. And here is the tangent equation for the inverse of g. Are we clear? Okay, next?
No.
Okay.
The y value is 3 because it's the input?
It's right here. They are asking equation of the inverse.
Yeah.
Tangent like this. So I have to use the x for this, I have to use the y for inverse. So, you know, it's not the regular g function they're asking. They're asking inverse g tangent equation. So I have to plug in everything related to inverse g. So inverse g, y value is here and x value is right there and the derivative is negative half. For inverse, not the original g. Is that making sense? Yeah. Okay. Let's go for that one. They said, estimate the value of f prime 2 on your pink paper. By the way, write down on your pink paper your inverse derivative formula, which is f negative 1x derivative equal 1 over f prime f inverse x. Write down this and write down in the bracket x and y switch, so you will not forget that on the pink paper. Also, check on your pink paper. What does this mean when I say estimate the value of f prime or approximate the value of f prime?
F of b
Huh?
F of b minus f of a.
Over,
B minus a.
which is a secant slope. Okay? So anytime you see the word estimate or approximate and they are asking for the f prime, you're looking for f of b minus f of a over b minus a. And this is my estimate of f prime x. Estimate. F prime 2. You can do that. So find me the f prime 2. So here is the f function, right? Guys, this is a f function, right? I need a y2 minus y1 x2 minus x1. So that's my f function. The 2 is between here, isn't it? 1 and 3. 2 is between. I don't have exactly the x value 2, but I have between 1 and 3, right? So what do? We pick 1, 3, and we pick 3 and 1. y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1, f of b minus f of a. Now, it's your choice. The 1 can be a, the 3 is going to be b. These are my x values. That could be my f of a, and this could be my f of b. I always write this so I don't get confused or I don't get, mess up on somewhere. So f of b is my 1, approximately. Not approximately. F of b is my 1 minus f of a is 3. B is 3. And a is 1. So I got negative 2 over 2, which will give me negative 1. Is that making sense? Guys, I used f of b minus f of a. The reason I used it because they used the word estimate the value of f prime 2. I don't have a function to take a derivative and plug in 2. I don't have any other choice other than making a secant slope. But find the x2. So I don't have a 2 exactly in the table. I have negative 2 but not positive 2. So I have to, since the 2 between 1 and 3, then I have to pick these order pairs. It has to be arbitrarily close to 2, from both sides. So I picked those, I got the answer, and the answer is negative 1. Now they said, based on this value, the negative 1 value, what conclusion can be reached about the graph of f when x is equal to? Explain your reasoning. When my slope is negative, then it means it's decreasing. Yes or no? All I have to say this in English. So I'm going to say, and they're talking about f graph. So f, the graph of f, or you can say the graph of f is decreasing because f prime 2 is equal negative 1. Or you can say f prime 2 is less than 0. Doesn't matter. Yeah, you should do that. F prime negative 2 is less than 0. For the reasoning, less than 0. And that's your answer. Are we clear, guys? Okay. The last one, you do it. I am done. You do it and give me the answer.